My name is Ashley, and I'm 27 years old. I started using pills, Oxycontin, when I was 18 years old, and that progressed into using heroin and meth.
Can you tell me what it was like when you were using heroin and meth?
Yes. At first, I didn't think I had a problem with it because I was like, well, I'm not shooting heroin, everybody else is. I'm just smoking it. And I'm just smoking meth, I'm not doing what other people are doing. And it started not working for me anymore. I wasn't getting high no more the way I wanted. I was seeing everybody else way higher than me, and it made me curious, like, well, I wonder what it's about, and I asked someone to shoot me up one day. It took me 3 days to actually get the courage to do it because I was like, okay, no. And I finally did it, and it wasn't that great. It was kind of awful, but at the same time, I was like, maybe it's just the first time, so I was like, well, I'm going to try it again. And then that's when it got me. When I was like, I knew this is what I was going to be doing because it was so intense. It was like a feeling you never felt before. You feel like you have no worry, nothing's bothering you, and it's just freeing in a sense. But now that I know that it's not, it was a very false feeling.
Can you tell me some of the places that your heroin took you?
Well, I never used to steal stuff, and I started stealing from stores. It started off with little things, and it got more deeper into it, stealing bigger things, TVs, going to Home Depot, stealing tools, and at one point, me and my boyfriend got in trouble, and they said that we started a ring because of how many TVs were being stolen. And it was just me and him, so it was kind of crazy, like, oh, we're really doing a lot. And it also, we ended up living in our car for a long time, and we still didn't see nothing wrong with that. We thought it was normal. And then we ended up losing our car because we were in Las Lunas, and we both went to jail, and the car got towed. And they kept the car because we couldn't afford to take it out. So all our belongings, everything I ever owned was in that car, and now I was with nothing. And so we ended up living on the street, and in the area we were, there was a lot of other people just like us, doing drugs, living on the street, they're panhandling. I didn't do it, but I'd rather steal stuff, I guess, and anything else you could think of, doing things that I never thought I'd do for drugs, and it just took me to a really dark place. And this one time I ended up being in the hospital, and they weren't sure what was wrong with me, so they knew I was a drug user, so they're like, oh, it's just because you're high. And I ended up stealing an ambulance because the keys were in it, and I was just like, well, I want to get back to my side of town. And I made it like 2 blocks, and I totaled that ambulance. And I was so out of it, I didn't even try to run, nothing. I sat in the back of the ambulance and waited for the cops to come, and they took me back to the same hospital I just took the ambulance from, and they said I was fine, and I ended up going to jail. And I thought I was going to be in jail for a long time. I was like, I can't do this no more. If I just let me out, and I'll change my life. And I was released, to my surprise, a few days later, and I went back to using. Even though I really didn't want to, I knew I was in a bad place already, but I just couldn't help it. It was just calling me, and you can't just say no. It takes over everything, and that's all you can do. That's all you know how to do.
And how did you get to Brownwood?
Well, I ended up back in jail, and this time it was because for not going to probation. And I was in there for about 10 days, and I got a note from my mom, and she told me to call her, and I was like, well, if I make it out this time, I'll go to Brownwood with her, because that's all she ever wanted me to do. And I was kind of iffy because I was like, well, you know, she might not be here. And then I go to the courtroom and there she is with my stepdad, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go to Brownwood, Texas, but at least I'll stop doing drugs. And because, you know, I'm changing my places, I won't have nobody that I know, you know, there won't be a way for me to be high there, is what I really, really thought. And so the next day I got out of jail, my mom was gonna take me straight to Texas, and I begged her to let me say bye to my daughters, which I did, but more so to see their dad because I knew he had drugs and I wanted to get high one more time, which was awful. But I was like, well, if I'm not going to do it anymore, you know, I got to do it one last time because I just got out of jail. So I did, and we drove 8 hours all the way here. I was talking up a storm because I was high on meth. And my mom and my stepdad didn't say nothing. They're just like, yeah, you're going to do great. You know, we're going to find you a place that can help you. And so we got here, my mom looked around, and I was like, well, I mentioned there was methadone in Albuquerque. I didn't know if they had it here. And the only reason I mentioned it was because I was like, they just don't want me to do drugs. But I've seen people on methadone, and they still get high. So I was like, well, maybe it just will be a different high. And so we went to the methadone clinic. It was in San Angelo. And they told me that I didn't know how it worked, so they told me that it was going to be a while. And at that point, I was already withdrawing because more mentally than physically, because I hadn't had it. I just had a little piece that I did when I got here. But I was still freaking out, you know, because I was like, what am I going to do now? And so what I did was I looked around the room and saw the people that were waiting to get their dose. And I was like, if this is anything like Albuquerque, these people still have dope. And lo and behold, I talked to the one person that did have dope, and I completely dropped everything. I just told my mom, I'm leaving. I'm going to go hang out with this complete stranger, and I'll be back later. And she freaked out, but I didn't care. All I could think about was I need to get in his car so I can go get high, because I don't want to feel this way. So I did, and I was there for about 2 weeks getting high every day. And then, you know, that never goes over good with some random person, you know. So I ended up staying with his sister who lived next door because I told her I was going to go back to Albuquerque. And they were like, we don't want you to go back, because they saw that I wrecked an ambulance and how bad I was doing there. They're like, you could do better here, but we're still on drugs. And I was like, yeah. And no, I ended up going to a psychosis. Is that what it is? A psychosis from too much meth, apparently. And I ended up in the hospital. My mom and my brother came to see me before I got taken to Shannon. And I remember seeing them briefly, but I know that I was tripping out real bad. And I don't remember going the ride over to Shannon. I don't remember it, but I remember waking up there. And I was like, where am I? How did I get here? What am I doing here? Like, what is this place? And they're just like, oh, this is a hospital, you know, you had some trouble at the hospital and you're not doing that great. And I was like, okay. And the first few days, all I did was sleep. I didn't even get up, do nothing. And then I started waking up, and I was like, I need to get out of here. I was like, I need to go get high. I can't be in here. It was locked, you know, you couldn't just leave. And so I started coming up with plans, you know, just how can I get out of here? And I knew that I had a court date in a week, so I was like talking to the doctor, you know, manipulating the doctor, letting them know I'm better, you know, I'm completely fine. I do need to get out of here and go back to Albuquerque because I have a court date. And they believed me, which it was true, you know, it was true. But I just wanted to get out so I could go high. And so I was like, okay, it worked. And I got out the next day. My mom picked me up. And I could just tell something was wrong. Well, of course, you know, she just saw her daughter all tripping out. But she explained to me that she saw me at the hospital before I went to that other hospital, her and my brother, and she expressed to me how they felt, how she was like devastated, scared. You know, she's like, it looked like you had a devil inside you, you know, we couldn't even look at you because it wasn't you, and it was just awful. And when she told me that, it really hit me hard because before, I wasn't around my family, so I didn't, nobody knew that I was doing that bad. But that moment that I saw that she saw the way I was, that's when I decided I can't do this anymore. And that's when I really decided I'm not going to get high ever again and I need help. And so we looked for help.
And how did you find AccelHealth?
We went to this recovery place. I don't know what it's called. It's over there by Stripes.
In it? Winter Circle?
But it was for people that are already on some kind of recovery thing. They just go there for like counseling and groups and stuff like that. They don't have like where they could take you in and help you. And this lady, she was looking all over. She was trying to send me to different rehabs, detoxes, but it was real hard because I didn't have no identification. I didn't have any insurance, So she was just looking, and I was already like not feeling great. I was like, oh no, I'm starting to feel the way I did when I first got here. I don't want this to happen. And out of nowhere, she goes, you know what? There's this place over down by Coggin, and it's called AccelHealth. And it's a new thing that they're doing. They could help you. I don't know if it'll work for you, but they could help you there. And I was like, okay. So here me and my mom go straight over here because I was like, we need to do this now because I'm not feeling great. And she brought me straight over here, and while you and Andy came in and you sat with me and took all my information down, and it was amazing because it was like, it happened so fast. It was like I got here, the next day I had a doctor's appointment to see Dr. Livingston, and then the day after that I was on Suboxone, and the moment I took the Suboxone, it was like everything in my body felt better. I didn't feel like I wanted to crawl out of my own skin. I felt better. I felt like I could breathe. And I was like, okay, well, there is a God, because I don't know how this happened so fast, And it really opened my eyes and gave me some hope.
And you've been with Excel for how long?
Over a year, about 20 months, I think.
So what has it been like having treatment through our program?
Well, it's very different from what I've heard other people go through. I don't know their experience, but mine has been really great because I'm learning that you guys really take the time here to like personalized treatment. It's not a one-size-fits-all thing. You take the time to build the bond with the patient. And, I'm a difficult kind of person. I wasn't really for the NA meetings or the steps, but you found a way to incorporate that in a way that I would better understand it and be able to do it. Little did I know I was doing it, but I always enjoyed doing it, because you found that way to help me really like doing it.
Mm-hmm. And so, with your medication-assisted treatment, the MAT program that we have here started you on Suboxone. So tell me how that process went and where you are now.
Okay, it started off with a good dosage that they thought, because they asked me how much heroin I was doing, which was a lot, and they lost it. Sorry. They monitored me. There you go. They monitored me. Like every 2 weeks, I think I was going to see the doctor to see if I was taking enough and if it was helping with the cravings and how it was working. So I really liked that they were really like close, to make sure that it was working. And on top of that, they knew my mom was there, so I wouldn't be like abusing it. So that helped a lot. And I was told that I'd get on naltrexone and then Vivitrol, and they explained to me how that was gonna go, the steps, and you guys really prepared me for it. I was a little nervous because, I never hear good things about Suboxone. All I knew was some people get high with it, and I'm like, I didn't get high, so this must be working. But little did I know, it's working because, you know, it was being monitored the right way. I was taking it the right way, and I was getting counseling with it, and that really helped because I was being taught the tools to get over the thoughts that I couldn't stop thinking of. You know, the cravings would go shorter instead of the lasting so long, and it really got me through. And then when it was time for me to switch to the naltrexone, I had to be lowered off of the Suboxone, and I was really scared. But everybody was very encouraging to me and really supportive, you know, and it was a good feeling, and it made me really feel like I can do this. I'm ready to do this. And I did it, and it was wonderful. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be at all. And I went to the naltrexone, and it felt like a good feeling, you know. It was like freeing, like I felt like nothing was holding me back, like I felt real happy. And I went from that to the Vivitrol, and since I've been on the Vivitrol, I've been doing so much better. I'm so surprised that I've gotten this far, and I'm so happy because when I first came here, I was quiet. I didn't want to engage with no one, you know, and throughout this whole thing, you guys have helped me so much, like with any little problem I had, and, you know, found a solution for me, and now I feel like I'm just the best that I could be.
Would you recommend AccelHealth substance use program to someone that was struggling with drug addiction?
Yes, I would, because I feel like here, you know, it's not like they're just gonna write you a prescription for the Suboxone, you know. You have to see the counselor, and I've realized that all these things, they have to work together. And when it works good together, the way being here has worked good for me, it'll help more people. And it could work for them. Well, I know it could work for them because it's working for me.